Focus is now on Niger, where the coup leader has proposed a 3-year transition of power after meeting a delegation of the Economic Community of West African States. General Abdourahmane Tchiani, who spoke on national television on Saturday night, said the principles for the move would be decided within 30 days. In his 12-minute speech, General Tchiani described ECOWAS sanctions as illegal and inhuman.
I reaffirm here that our ambition is not to confiscate power. I also reaffirm our availability for any dialogue, as long as they take into account the orientations desired by proud and resilient people of Niger. The government is already instructed to take the urgent arrangement for dialogue. The active forces will work within 30 days to formulate concrete proposals to define the fundamental principles that should govern the transition, to define the priority of the transition, the duration which cannot exceed 3 years.
TVC News defense correspondent Sifon joins me now for more on this development in Niger. Sifon, what exactly does this 3-year transition period mean, especially for ECOWAS?
Well, this 3-year transition program means very little for ECOWAS, whose objective is for the junta to restore constitutional order and restore the presidency of Mohamed Bazoum as the leader of that country, which is what the delegation that met with the ousted president and the junta on Saturday, led by the former head of state, Federal Republic of Nigeria, agreed, in Ghana to discuss with the junta. But the junta apparently also has its own plan, which it has rolled out, talking about a 3-year transition program, giving political parties 30 days to submit their agenda and be part of the process. With the next line of action from ECOWAS is what we now await to see.
Indeed, because it would be important to actually hear from ECOWAS about how they're responding to this. But then, in the midst of all of this, the military leader has said ECOWAS sanctions are illegal and inhuman. How's that being received?
Well, the ECOWAS sanctions are actually hurting the country, Niger, and as well as hurting border states with Nigeria. Economic sanctions, truckloads of food and other items are not able to cross, on either side. So that is really hurting the country, in addition to the fact that power has been cut to the landlocked country that depends largely on electricity coming from Nigeria and very little electricity coming from Agadez, where it generates very little electricity of its own. So, but ECOWAS, understands that, such reactions would amount to the fact that the sanctions are having the effect intended ab initio, and that for them is a good one, and they would expect the junta to have a rethink and decide on ceding power, restoring constitutional order as decided by the ECOWAS countries.
And the junta has declared availability for a dialogue. What do you think could happen in the coming days?
Well, the junta declared availability for dialogue, but with conditions, and that the dialogue would be led by prominent members of its country. ECOWAS is led by, countries that participate actively across the region. So it would want to drive the discussion, not necessarily allowing the junta drive the discussion. That we know from antecedents how ECOWAS has engaged in previous incidents similar to this. So what we now wait to see is if, in opening the door again for dialogue, the junta would consider the fact that ECOWAS should have the driving seat.
All right, TVC News defense correspondent Sifon is here for us there. Thank you, Sifon.